Hi everyone. Okay, video number 24 now in my DVD collection, and in this video we're going to get to the letter Z, but that's not going to be the end of it. There will still be more to come. But yeah, there's a playlist on my channel. You can follow along that way. Let's get on with it. Really good one this, Reese Witherspoon in Wild, directed by Jean-Marc Vallée from the novel by Cheryl Strayed. Excellent. From director Walter Hill, this is Jeff Bridges and Ellen Barkin in Wild Bill. It was thought for a while that the Western ended with this movie, but that was not to be. But this is Sam Peckinpah's classic, The Wild Bunch. Good fun this, veteran action movie with Roger Moore, Richard Burton and Richard Harris. This is The Wild Geese. Robert Duvall directs as well as stars in Wild Horses with James Franco. What are you rebelling against? What do you got? This is Marlon Brando in The Wild One. And not one, not two, but three Wild Things movies. The first one being the classic one, I suppose, with Neve Campbell and Denise Richards and Matt Dillon and Kevin Bacon. Crispin Glover bonds with rats in Willard. And Val Kilmer and Warwick Davis in Willow, directed by Ron Howard, produced by George Lucas. An absolute classic, Gene Wilder in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And written and directed by John Milius. This is Sean Connery in The Wind and the Lion. Telling the story of an Indian tribe in Utah in 1855. This is Wind River. And from director Ken Loach, Cillian Murphy in The Wind That Shakes the Barley. 3-disc director's edition of Wind Talkers, starring Nicolas Cage, directed by John Woo. And Freddie Prinze Jr. in Wing Commander. Adapted from a novel by Richard Condon, who also wrote Prizzi's Honor and The Manchurian Candidate. This is a black comedy, Winter Kills, starring Jeff Bridges and an all-star cast here, quite a varied cast that includes the likes of Thomas Milian, Elizabeth Taylor, Toshiro Mifune, John Huston. Yeah, good one. Written and directed by Emilio Estevez and starring him as well with Demi Moore. This is Wisdom. I love this movie. Emily Lloyd shot to fame in this one. Wish You Were Here, also starring Tom Bell. And directed by Mike Nichols. This is Emma Thompson in Wit. Billy Wilder's classic courtroom drama, Witness for the Prosecution, with Tyrone Power, Marlene Dietrich and Charles Lawton. And a pretty good atmospheric first movie from Robert Eggers, The Witch. From Hammer Studios, this is Joan Fontaine and Kay Walsh in The Witches. And iconic performances from Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann in Bruce Robinson's Withnail and I. Billy Crudup as the runner Steve Prefontaine in Without Limits, directed by Robert Towne. And Have You Never Felt a Teat Before, John Book? Not one this big. Harrison Ford in Witness. Leonardo DiCaprio in Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. And adapted from the book by Whitley Strieber, this is Albert Finney in Wolfen. Pretty atmospheric this one, good camera work. Anthony Hopkins, Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt in The Wolfman. And Helen Mirren and Ryan Reynolds in Woman in Gold. From 1984, this is Gene Wilder, Kelly LeBrock and Charles Grodin in The Woman in Red. And a bit of Chaplin here, we've got A Woman in Paris and A King in New York. TV miniseries this, but this is Jenny Seagrove. This role brought her to fame in Barbara Taylor Bradford's A Woman of Substance, which also starred Liam Neeson and Deborah Kerr. And from director Pedro Almodovar, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. From Woody Allen, set in Coney Island and with gorgeous cinematography from Vittorio Storaro, this is Kate Winslet in Wonder Wheel. And not a movie, but this is The Wonderful World of Albert Kahn, a really fascinating archivist who wanted to document the world in photographs. Directed by Michael Winterbottom and starring Gina McKee, this is Wonderland. And Peter Sellers in The World of Henry Orient, directed by George Roy Hill. William Holden and Nancy Kwan in her first role, this is The World of Susie Wong. And in Worth Winning, Mark Harmon gets engaged to 3 women at the same time. Naughty boy. Mickey Rourke in Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler. And I thought this one was pretty creepy and effective. This is Wrong Turn. directed by Lawrence Kasdan. This is Kevin Costner in the overlong but good Wyatt Earp. But most people, if asked to choose their favourite between this and Tombstone, choose Tombstone. But this is still a good movie. Olivia Newton-John and Gene Kelly in Xanadu. A 1983 horror movie directed by Harry Bromley Davenport. This is Extro. Vin Diesel in Triple X. An astonishing performance from Maribel Verdú in this one, Y Tu Mama Tambien, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. Superb movie. James Cagney shows his tap dancing skills in this one, Yankee Doodle Dandy. And World War II drama, this is Richard Gere and Vanessa Redgrave in Yanks. Shame this one flopped at the cinema. This is Year of the Comet, and this was the first script that William Goldman had written since Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's kind of like Romancing the Stone type feel to it, involving a quest for a valuable bottle of wine. But yeah, it doesn't quite work, but nonetheless it is still worth seeing. Penelope Ann Miller and Tim Daly star in this one. All-star cast in Anthony Asquith's The Yellow Rolls Royce. And directed by Danny Boyle and with a script from Richard Curtis. This is Yesterday, which imagines that the world has forgotten who the Beatles were, except for one guy who can then make money out of their songs. From director Edward Yang, this is Yi Yi. A great movie this, directed by J. Lee Thompson and starring Diana Dors. This is Yield to the Night, very loosely inspired by the story of Ruth Ellis, the last woman to be hanged in Britain. Written and directed by Kenneth Lonergan. This is Laura Linney and Mark Ruffalo in You Can Count on Me. And a documentary this about a senior citizen choir. This is Young at Heart. I have Young Guns on Blu-ray, but this is its sequel, Young Guns 2. And Harley McBride in Young Lady Chatterley. World War II drama, The Young Lions with Marlon Brando and Montgomery Clift. Fun one this, directed by Sidney J. Furie, and I have done a video on my channel talking about Sidney J. Furie's filmography. But this is Cliff Richard and the Shadows in The Young Ones. Directed by John Frankenheimer and starring Burt Lancaster, but no, it's not The Train. This is another film that they made together, The Young Savages. Good one this, I saw it at the cinema. This is Your Name animation, directed by Mikoto Shinkai. Gary Cooper and Jane Greer in You're in the Navy Now. And family comedy Yours, Mine and Ours, starring Henry Fonda and Lucille Ball. 90s romance with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, You've Got Mail. And Sean Connery obviously fell foul of the costume designer in this one. This is John Borman's Zardoz. Hated this when I saw it at the cinema and then grew to love it. This is Woody Allen's Zelig. And Bill Pullman and Ben Stiller in The Zero Effect, written and directed by Jake Kasdan. Excellent serial killer thriller from David Fincher. This is Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. in Zodiac. And from Lucio Fulci, this is his classic Zombie, also known as Zombie Flesh Eaters. Zombies again in this one, Zombie Death House, and this one stars John Saxon. And what a great way to end the alphabet here with Zulu, absolute classic, directed by Cy Enfield. Early starring role there for Michael Caine. Great performances from Stanley Baker, and that hugely memorable score from John Barry, which is absolutely one of my favourite film scores. Okay, so that is my A to Z of DVDs, but we're not quite finished yet because I do still have multi-packs and box sets and Criterions to show you before we're finished, and also then TV as well. So yeah, still several more videos to come. But let me know in the comments, what do you think of these movies? What do you think of this series? Like I say, there is a playlist on my channel, so you can follow along the whole A to Z that way, and keep informed on other videos still to come. But yeah, leave me your comments. I hope you're enjoying all of this. I'm very warm now, it's a hot day, so I will finish. All the best to you. Hopefully see you again. Bye-bye.